we were trying to do a thing for a while where all of the episodes are at a location that is like relevant to the episode itself. So like we should be doing this in a theater.
Yeah.
But we're instead doing this in a podcast lab. It's too hard of a goal to maintain that.
I know. Without a team. You will be able to get there.
Where like every episode has some kind of location that fits the guest. Like if I interview someone who plays golf, like on a golf course.
Yeah, you're trying to do like comedians in cars instead of the cars as the location.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Should we stamp it?
Stamp it? Clap. I might use that, I don't know.
Yeah, but at least you know when the episode is starting.
Yeah. Do you know Pete Holmes?
Yeah.
So he was like the original inspiration when I started doing podcasts for the way he begins an episode.
Yeah.
It would be like 7 minutes in and the guest would be like, have we started recording?
Yeah.
And I always love that.
Now everybody does that, I feel like.
Yeah, but I think he invented it.
Yeah, I mean, he made it weird. He was that podcast and was a huge part of when I first moved to New York in 2017.
Oh, really? You listen to that a lot?
Yeah, and it was also like right at the beginning of this like comedian explosion.
Mm-hmm.
Where like John Mulaney wasn't super famous yet, but
are we going to talk about Joe Rogan? Should we just start with him right away?
I don't know who that is.
Oh, that's incredible. We're going to soundbite that. I think he actually made all these comedians famous to a large extent.
Yeah, and also social media. Like I think crowd work. Like people I think the pandemic exploded a ton of people's careers. Not mine, but I think they helped a lot of people, and especially comedians. And it's just such a stripped, like crowd work is just such a stripped down, like form of, like it's something you can laugh at by yourself alone on your phone, and so it does so well. You don't need to have like a full setup and a joke. You don't need to be in the room.
Have you done stand-up before?
I did stand up one time my second year in New York City. Me and a couple friends, I was taking a UCB class, and we went down to the theater under St. Mark's, and you have to like put your name in a bucket, and I got so drunk. We got there at 7 to sign up, so many PBRs. I didn't go on until 2 a.m.
What?
And it was like 5 minutes, and I was so nervous. People left, but there was only 7 people there.
Okay.
So it was so traumatizing.
Really?
Not even traumatizing. It so did not feel like what I need to do. You know,
okay.
Like I think I enjoy entertaining and being on stage in different ways. And I love making people laugh, but I don't necessarily feel like I need to have stand-up as my medium.
It's not your art form, because there's like a bunch of different stage art forms.
Because I like to sing.
Yeah. But you could, Bo Burnham is like the greatest person that's ever lived. You could do musical comedy.
Yeah, and there are a lot of people who do that. Oh my gosh, what's his name? J.R. de Guzman is
I don't actually know him.
Great. He's so funny, and he can actually sing. Like, he sings.
Okay.
Like, Bo Burnham sings words, but he's not a singer.
Yeah, like Rachel Bloom might be closer.
Rachel Bloom, yeah. Look up J.R. de Guzman.
Okay.
He's fucking hilarious, and he like has such a cute little like sexy soulful voice.
Okay.
It's really great.
So if you were going to do comedy, that would be your style of comedy.
Yeah, but I'm not going to do comedy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, fine, that's settled. I've done stand-up twice, actually, 2 open mics. I opened for Brett at open mic one time.
I could see that.
I got one like really good laugh, and I was like, that's it. That's all I need. I can retire, because it just doesn't feel like my thing either.
Yeah. I think I have a specific trauma that isn't, for stand-up, that isn't that, like, sadistic, because, like, the way to get so good and to get your time is brutal. Maybe it's a little better now because there's a lot of niche rooms. I feel like there's a huge queer comedy scene in Brooklyn that feels so supportive. I'm not in it. I'm like kind of on the outskirts in terms of like I know some queer comics, but it just seems like they do, whether it's good or bad, like they do a lot of similar rooms. And they are just all really good friends and really support each other. And I just don't think it was like that coming up in stand-up comedy for a long time.
Yeah, stand-up comedy was just a bunch of men from Boston.
Yeah, and it's so isolated, and like it's in bars. It's like similar to being a musician, where it's like no one's really paying attention until one day they really do.
This feels like you made it weird. This feels like a topic that would be Pete Holmes. I feel like I'm listening to him through my voice and your voice.
Yeah.
We're copying
mine,
right now.
But,
mostly yours. Yeah. So wait, okay. Before we get sidetracked, because I have to interview you. No, I'm kidding.
Sure.
What have you been up to the last couple months? And then I want to talk about your behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah. So my name is Shayna Blass. Also, if
let's do an introduction.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Shayna Blass. I guess I'm doing my own introduction on somebody else's podcast.
You're the first person on this podcast that has been introduced at all.
As I should.
No one knows who anyone is.
Hello. Shayna Blass. B, like glass, but with a B. Like bull ass. Anyways. What was the first question? What have I been up to?
Yeah, what's the summer? Because you've had a lot going on.
Yeah, so I had a bunch of shows this summer. My own shows. So in April, it's kind of the spring, but April, I took myself to Italy for 2 weeks, and then I came back. I had a show in Philly, a show in DC, a show in New York. I did like a little mini tour. And then May, I don't even remember what happened. And then June, I was preparing to go do this show, this musical called Beautiful, the Musical. It's a story about Carole King, who's an American songwriter, her life before Tapestry, which was like the big album that made her super famous, that has Natural Woman on it, that has, oh my god, my mind went blank, that has the song Tapestry on it, Beautiful, the song Beautiful, that the show was named after. And so I was the lead in this musical, which is like a dream role that I've had for a really long time. And actually, the musical came out on Broadway in 2014. I was living in DC. I was doing a show, Fiddler on the Roof, at the time, and I was like, oh my god, I love Carole King. I want to be in this musical one day. And I'm going to move to New York one day, so I should have... It's like very kind of early days, 2014, of YouTube.
Yeah.
So I put me singing So Far Away, which is one of her songs, on YouTube, and I had like really short hair, like a little curly Q-tip, because I had just played a role, Yentl, in the musical, and it's like this girl who dresses up as a yeshiva boy so that she can study. So I cut all my hair off. Then I did this musical, Fiddler on the Roof. I had a super long wig. But anyways, I recorded this song because I was like, one day I'm going to do this role. And it just lives on YouTube. It's like fine. It wasn't that great. But I was 24. And then 2 summers ago, this is kind of a long story.
Someone found the video? No. Listen, it's a podcast.
2 summers
It's not long
ago,
enough.
Summer of 2023, I flew to LA, and my sister picked me up, and we drove cross country because she was going to move to she was moving to Brooklyn to live with me, and we decided to go south. For some reason, July 2023, she wanted to go to Grand Canyon, and I was like, okay, let's do it. We drove south through Death Valley, through to Grand Canyon from LA and Palm Springs in her Honda CRV with no AC. We're driving through Death Valley. I had ice. We had to stop at a gas station. I had ice on my feet, on my legs.
This is like highly triggering as someone who hates summer. I'm just going to leave.
I was putting ice in my ear to cool me down. On the dashboard, it was 118. I was like, Why didn't we do this? Why didn't we just go through Montana? But I'll tell you why we did it. So one of the stops, I was like, let's just go through Oklahoma City because I know the artistic director there. He directed me in a musical 2012. And we just stopped through. We see a rehearsal for the show. We just sort of like, we were there for the day. We drove in, hung out, slept. Then we drove to Texas the next day. While we were there, we get pizza with the artistic director, my friend Michael Barron. And somebody brings, both of us have different stories. I remember him saying like, hey, we're going to be doing Beautiful in a couple summers. Would you want to do it? The Carole King musical. And I was like, yeah. He remembers me saying, hey, if you ever want to do Beautiful, I want to do it. So anyways, it was put in the ether. That was summer 2023. We moved to Brooklyn. I lived my life. I kind of forget about that. And then March of this year, I get an email, or I get a text from him first that was like, hey, are you still interested in doing Carole King? I'm like, yeah, of course. He's like, okay, well, you're going to get an email, just tape some stuff because the director doesn't know you, wants to see you read from the show and sing the songs. And I like, I don't have this often, but when I do, I just trust it of like, oh, this is my part. Like, this is my role. I was like, I know I'm sending audition tapes, kind of, but I was like, I'm getting
You
this.
just feel like it was already yours.
Yeah, my
it's yours to
intuition
lose.
was like, I'm getting this. And great, happy to, and it can look like whatever. I mean, I did my best. I actually was so busy, I had like an hour, and I sent a message up to the higher power and universe. I was like, I have 1 hour to get these 3 songs and 2 scenes, and I need your help. Like, I need you to channel this into me. And I did it, and I sent it off, and then I got the offer to do the show. So that was like a lot of pieces leading up to this one piece. So that's what I did this summer. I did the show, the musical in Oklahoma City. I came back and I filmed for a TV show that's hopefully, it's an independent TV show. They filmed the pilot. Hopefully it'll get picked up. It's called the Bridal Party Series. Okay. It's about like a crazy like bridal suite office. And I play like the cunty receptionist who's like ordering people around.
It's my brother's favorite word, both of them, so they'll be happy to watch that part.
Receptionist?
Yeah.
Okay, so I filmed that. I was like, am I talking about your brother? I don't fucking know him.
No.
Is he older?
I have 2 younger brothers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you don't know.
I'm like, I was going to ask if they're single, but they're too young for me.
Yeah, the man can never be younger. It's impossible. It would never work.
Yeah, although it's feeling like the scales are tipping because like guys in their late 20s are like Gen Z and very like they're like just after millennials, and I feel like they're so much more integrated with like what's going on with the culture, and they're a little bit more queer, a little bit more comfortable with themselves.
Maybe.
I'm also in
This is such a large tangent. It's funny, like, I know you from social media mostly, and you know me from social media mostly. I don't know your conversational style that well yet. Like, we could just go completely off on a tangent and never come back to the thing that you were talking about.
Yeah, I will talk a lot. So, but you're the host, so you have to wrangle.
We're going to decide now, do we want to go off on this Gen Z dudes tangent, or the... let's come back to it.
Well, let's come back to it, because just the end of my summer was, so I filmed...
I want to come back to talking to the universe also.
Yeah, of course.
We've got some serious topics. We got some heavy stuff coming up.
Of course, yeah. And to me, I'm a Scorpio moon, so I'm like, that's not heavy. That's that's basic shit. Okay. That's like baseline what I want to talk to people about. Okay. And you know astrology, so you get it.
I know what it is.
What's your son?
What is my son like?
When's your birthday? Your son's sign.
I'm a Leo.
You're Leo. Okay, yeah. Aries. There we go.
Don't know what that means.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah.
Oh boy, you will.
I hear it enough.
So, then after 3 days of filming, I went to Barcelona for a week. I took myself to Barcelona. Had a friend there. That was fun. And then I came back and just been chilling. I just did a new musical workshop. I have another one coming up, but chilling and also having like panic days of like, what the fuck's happening? What am I doing with my life? I'm also a social media manager, like freelance. So I have a client right now, working on getting 2 more clients.
If we're not careful, this could be like an 18-hour episode.
Yeah, it really will. And I'm not responsible for that.
Yeah, so. No, because we have to go to the bathhouse at some point. So we have a hard out at like a minute, an hour and 40.
Just you and me after the podcast going to the bathhouse.
Yeah.
How does that sound for people?
Yeah.
Are they happy for you?
Probably.
Are they excited?
Guys, let us know in the comments.
Let us know in the comments what you think happened.
And then Brett's gonna call in and be like, why did I should have been here the whole time?
Yeah.
He should have come to watch.
Well, the way this happened is like Brett was texts me to hang out. He'll text me to hang out, but then he'll cancel on me multiple times. And then we just end up doing a podcast. And then he's like, oh, I'll just meet you later.
He made plans for the 3 of us, but then he didn't come, so now we're doing a podcast.
I'm like, if you don't want to hang out, I'm not forcing you to hang out with me.
Or was this like a game for him because he knew that we should do a podcast together?
Right.
In this one case. The other cases that you're saying, I don't know what's going on. But this one in particular, yeah. He didn't want to hang out with you all those other times, but this time it was like, the world needs this episode.
And the world need 2 fire signs talking for hours.
Fire signs.
Yeah. Okay, so that's my summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
You really, that was concise.
Yeah, well, that was it.
So
the end of it's really tight. But
where are you at, like, now you're back in regular existence? Is there, like, a come down from that?
There is definitely a crash. I feel like I got a little bit better after a big show like that. There usually is a come down crash, but I did take myself on vacation, which was helpful, and I kind of fucked up my circadian rhythm by going, to Europe. And I just also fucking love Europe, and I've been to Italy and Spain thus far. I went to London when I was 11, but I don't feel like that counts.
Okay.
But I just felt really good being there, and I felt like I could just relax. And then when I got home, I felt a little like lackluster. It was a couple days, and when I come off a show, I really always want to keep the momentum going. And I think spiritually it doesn't happen because I need to learn the lesson of balance, and I need to learn how to take care of myself a little bit deeper. So I have that, like, existential, like, what's happening? When's my next job for, like, a week and a half? And then it's just back to regular life. I mean, August historically has been pretty slow for me because if I'm not doing a show, I'm catering or I'm working at an office space that we're in, but I'm not going to say the name to protect me. There's no signage.
Okay, we're good. Okay. You're going to have to, like, blur out if there's, like...
Right.
No.
We were all right. So January, February, July, and August are pretty slow for, like, the catering world. And I can't work in the restaurant industry anymore. It was too exhausting. And I'm sober 4.5 years, so it's just easier. Catering is way easier. It's maybe less money than being a bartender working in a restaurant, but it's like on my body, it's way easier. So sometimes August can be slow. Like I said, I did a musical, and there are some shifts here or at my other job. But I also have to allow space to rest and for, like, things to just happen. And it gives me time to catch up on my sleep, and it gives me time to, like, work out. It gives me time to meet up with people that during the year I just don't have time to see. With the busy season, but also I think I'm trying to not have busy seasons, slow seasons. I'm trying to, like, craft my life where I'm, like, flowing more.
This is kind of what I was going to ask you. This might sound like an odd question, maybe. I don't know if people phrase it this way, but are you someone who, like, do you try to protect your energy? Are you protective of kind of the influences or maybe energy in the sense of what you actually do, like the kinds of things you engage with, the kinds of thoughts that you have day to day?
All of it. Yeah.
All of that.
Yeah. I think energy is the most important currency that we have.
So I agree, and I'm completely different from you and where I get it from, because, like, I've never asked... It's probably been 18 years since I asked God or the universe or whatever, like, please help me with something. Like, I'm too... logical in that way, even though I consider, like, spirituality is probably as important to me as anything, and yet the supernatural part of it just doesn't resonate at all. But like, so I feel like I have this a lot where I am getting to the same place as people who come from that world, but I'm getting there from a completely different entry point.
And which is?
Like, I think scientifically speaking, spirituality still makes sense.
Yeah, of course.
I think people who are not into that stuff, who claim to be scientific, just aren't actually scientific in they're stopping short of the actual insight. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it doesn't really matter if it's scientific or not. I think if it's intuition and if it's energy, which can be measured by science, and there can be, everything can be, spirituality can be looked at through, like, quantum physics, where, like, energy can be neither made or destroyed. So, like, where does it go? And you can use yourself as source if you feel like you are source, like you are the big I am, and not you, Matt, but, like, the one who is observing the thoughts and the one who is observing the activity that's
So you meditate
happening.
also?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Yeah.
It's weird to me that people don't, and also that there are people who have tried and are like, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because they're just not actually... I feel like if you think it doesn't work, you just haven't actually done it yet.
Yeah, and done it for a long amount of time, because one session of anything doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like one day of a diet doesn't work. One day at the gym doesn't work.
And it actually makes you worse initially. If you go to the gym once, you're like, I feel worse than I did yesterday.
Right.
I'm in pain.
Right. And like, but that's like, either it's the challenge for whatever, however, I'm like, if we're talking about just the gym, like that's the challenge to... Actually, what you're doing is not going to the gym. You're actually developing stronger connection with yourself, because there's discipline and there's making a promise to yourself and doing it. Whether you're going to see the results in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, actually the spiritual assignment is like, all of this is just connecting you back to yourself. And
so this is almost exactly the first thing I talked about in episode 1 of this podcast, which was like 11 months ago. The first 2 episodes I did solo. And at the very beginning of the first one, I started with an Andrew Huberman quote, which will probably upset a lot of people. But whatever. He's very, very right about some things.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah, he's smart as shit.
Yeah.
Sure.
And he has some other flaws.
Yeah.
And sometimes he's gone viral for not understanding math before, which is like very much warranted.
Did you read that article about that guy who like hung out with him a bunch, or like Andrew Huberman was like hired him or like wanted to work with him, and they like went to the woods and spent time together?
I think so, yeah. I don't
and
remember
then
the specifics, but yeah.
Ghosted him, but then also like called him crying. It was like such a weird relationship. That I was like, this person is like so smart, but like maybe socially is tough.
Even technically and scientifically, he had a tweet that went viral because he was saying that on average the odds of conception when you have sex are 1 in 6. It's like 16%, and that means that if you do it 6 times, the odds of having a baby are 100%, which is just not how the math works. It's literally just not how the math works.
And also like what, like, so you've tried it with every single woman and you know that?
I think it was a computing error, but there was this whole thing about him having multiple girlfriends at the same time.
Yes,
that he,
yes.
Like, never has addressed publicly.
Right.
But anyway, the part that I started the podcast with, was talking about how he refers to this part of the brain, which is essentially there's an area in the brain that's responsible for your capacity to do difficult things. And anytime you do something that's difficult, and it doesn't matter how objectively hard it is, it's your perception of how hard it is.
Yeah.
Anytime you do something that you perceive as a challenge, you become better at doing challenges.
Yeah.
And
that,
like there's
sense.
a physical structure that grows based on that. So like, why is cold plunge so good? There's all this science about what it does for your body, and it makes you lose weight and your immune system, and like some of that's valid, some of it's complete nonsense.
It's not working for me.
How much cold plunge do you do?
I've done it once.
Okay. It doesn't, yeah, the camera will note that the hypocrisy.
Wow.
Once isn't enough. No,
Anyways.
but for the mind, I think it was Ryan Holiday is the guy who's like repurposed stoicism as his own thing. He says, and I like fully am on the same page as him, if there were 0 proven health benefits for cold plunge at all, I would still do it, because the mental one is enough.
Yeah.
It's great for that. Like, if nothing else, just do it for that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, there's a ton of examples for that, and it makes me think of this concept in Kabbalah, which I just started kind of looking into. I'm listening to a lot of stuff on YouTube about it, and following this one teacher. So I haven't read any books or taken any official classes. I did take his like online Kabbalah 1 class, but basically whatever you want in life, whoever you want to be, whatever you want to attract, it's all about expanding your vessel. So we could say, like, some people say your nervous system, because with strong nerves you can do anything. Expanding your vessel, bringing in more light from the creator, basically being the light, which also can be more like connecting with yourself and knowing that the big I am, that I can actually have and do anything that I want. Expanding that vessel to be able to hold those things in your life. So expanding your vessel to lose the weight that you want, or to have the body that you want, which just means that you actually believe it's possible, because it happens from the mind first. I wouldn't even say the mind, the ego. It happens from because the mind can also get in the way a lot. It happens in your awareness. It happens in your belief. And then it comes into the body and into your 3D.
Yeah, some things are strong enough there's a strong enough push biologically that your mind is irrelevant for some things, but for other things when it's behavioral, I think, yes, I'm totally with you.
Yeah.
Because if someone hits you over the head with something, it doesn't matter what your belief system is, but I do think there has to be science for if you're working out and eating right and you just are, maybe it's as simple as stress hormones make everything more difficult. I'm kind of out of my depth at this point, but why would it be scientifically true that believing something will happen makes it more likely to happen? To whatever extent your belief dictates your behavior, of course, that's going to be legitimate.
And it's identity.
But also, if you can lower stress levels, that also... But yeah, right, identity is the easiest way to change. You change your identity, you can change anything.
It's the hardest thing to change for human beings.
Right, it's simple, but it's incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
It's one thing, but it really can be almost impossible in a lot of cases.
Yeah, and it's one thing, but you have to get so creative, because you're not, if you're so attached to the 3D, what you're seeing right now, you have to get creative and use your imagination to see what you actually want and act from that place. If I have the identity that I'm already on Broadway, then I have to get creative and use my imagination and think about, or using some kind of cognition of what would that person do? How would that person, if I'm having that new identity, what would I be spending my day? What would I be thinking about? Would I be thinking about, fuck, when am I going to get on a Broadway show? No, because I'm already there. I've already made my debut.
Yeah.
And that's my new identity. So where am I moving in the world from there?
And then everything you do is to reinforce the identity.
Yeah. And then you can pull that into your existence, and you can kind of create that.
I feel like I'm currently at a place where I'm trying to merge two identities which seem like they're in direct conflict, but maybe they actually go together. So I've done this before, but it was much simpler in the past. When I did sports betting for a living for a long time, and to change my identity from someone who just is a big sports fan to someone who can bet on sports while I also have a math background, that was a pretty simple change. The identity of this is a hobby to this is a career, because in both cases I was good at it. It was just, is this a hobby, or can I do it well enough that I become professional at it?
And you didn't have any money blocks?
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah,
because that would be really
in
hard
that way.
For someone, who's do I deserve all this money? How can I survive off of this? How can I win?
I didn't have any imposter syndrome or I'm winning too much. Is this even legitimate? Yeah.
Yes.
The current thing that I'm trying to do, I think this is going to segue us back to what we were trying to talk about before. To go from someone who was really socially awkward through high school, even into college, and maybe even in my 20s to some degree, but severely in high school, to go from someone who was socially awkward to someone who's going to coach guys on their dating lives.
Yeah.
That feels like a huge identity shift, but I'm trying to reframe it, because everyone I see who does basically every person I know who I respect who does this for a living, because there are tons of guys that do this, but there's I don't know, maybe there's 6 of them that are kind of the role models out of the thousands that are out there. All 6 of those guys are they all have the same backstory as me. They had to learn how to have proper social skills from a place of being a complete outsider when they were young. And so I think it's taken a while for me to register that actually is a good thing in this context, that I had to, I would have there'd be no reason to listen to me. Someone who's been good at something their whole life I wouldn't even say isn't necessarily, they very rarely are the best coach.
Yeah, well, and you have to have experience in something that you're going to teach, and you have to have your own results, and also you have to have a strong why, and usually that comes from, here's a problem I had, here's how I got through it, and here's why I think it can work for you.
Yeah, the strong why thing is actually tough, because I don't have that strong of a why. I very rarely have had that strong of a why in anything. like a lot of the things that I've needed to fix in my life are things because it'd be so easy to tie this nice story of I was awful and now I've learned to overcome it. In a lot of cases for me, it's I was average and I've overcome being average. And so it's almost like,
well, why did you care about being socially anything? Why did you care about changing a social the story that you had was I'm socially awkward and I want to change that.
mm-hmm.
Why? You could have just been like, I'm socially awkward and I don't give a fuck.
That's just how it... I mean, I guess if we could dive into it...
No, you wanted to get laid, you wanted a girlfriend, you wanted more friends, you wanted to feel wanted, you wanted to feel you belong.
Every single one of those things.
So, I mean, those are whys also.
Yeah, but they're kind of moderate degree whys.
Doesn't matter.
And also,
it doesn't matter, there's no scale.
That's true. Yeah. I guess it's like, it's only when I do this comparison game that it feels wrong. Because if I just think about it from my own perspective, it's like, oh, of course, I see a gap between who I am and who I want to be, so I'm going to go do that. Yeah. But then when I see other people had much more to overcome, it makes me feel like, oh, this is insufficient.
Well, of course, compare and despair.
Yeah.
Sweetie, that's a long game. You don't want to get
into
that.
No, and we don't have enough time on the camera battery for that. We can't do that game.
That's true. I'm curious about the coaching, and I love your content. I think it's going in a really cool direction. And also, I think there's a layer deeper that I'd be interested in knowing from you or how you can help people, men specifically, because, sweetie,
they need it more.
We need help. Yeah, we need help from men helping
the
them.
The most recent stuff that I've posted, like just in the last 3 days, I've kind of been going into that where it's like, we're almost like apologizing to women that men can't get it together. And this is a whole other tangent, but like I know I'm pandering when I do that.
Yeah.
And I get comments like that, oh, this is like the pick me guy. And I'm like, listen, I know it's going to come off that way, but like, and there is some truth to that, but it's also just true. So I'm just going to do it anyway.
Yeah. And the piece that I feel like just I just happened to be
give me the layer
a woman
deeper.
Who's dating men is like, what I really want men to want to do is to know their inherent worth. Mm-hmm. So it's not even just like what was sort of the topics you had said, like something they don't want you to know about or something is like, you can just talk to someone, like, I can't remember what your last post was, but you can just talk to someone and you can just go up and talk to someone and basically be okay with someone not talking back or like taking the L on that or something.
Yeah, the one that's done the best, or one of the ones that's done the best, was like, if there's guys there, you can just go talk to, you can go up and like the situation is far more open than it appears to be, I think, is the general concept.
That, but also I think just speaking to the individual of like, if men are even just afraid to approach or ask questions or be really curious about women, or like, I think that it's an inherent self-worth.
Yeah.
Like deep connection to self of like the reason you're afraid to do this, or even if you want to get a dating coach, like why would I mean, I've hired dating coaches or like love coaches for that, like all women groups. It's because like I just don't feel that I inherently know that I'm worthy just because I am, and I need to fix something, and I need to change, or I need the outside. The only way I know I'm desirable and attractive is that was the video, like attractive. You can't talk to a girl because you think she's too attractive or something.
Right. Yeah. A lot. I think this phenomenon that the girls in bars that get approached the most, it's not just linear. Whoever's the most attractive gets talked to the most.
Yeah.
There's kind of a sweet spot where it's attainable, like attractive but attainable and seeming open to conversation. So it's whatever makes the guy the most comfortable. It's like a combination of comfortable, but they actually view them as attractive also. It needs to have both. And usually if they're too attractive, the guy's not comfortable.
Yeah. I think the comfortability, like there is a body language that both sides, like, because sometimes I want to say hi to guys, but I feel like, I have to know if I feel safe, you know, and like maybe for men it's comfortable and for women it's safe, but even the attainability or just like not even engaging in conversation is like the inherent deep unworthiness.
I do think it's safe for both sides, by the way. It's just a different form of safety. You're talking about physical safety, and for men it's emotional safety.
Right, and that is such an important piece of like men, maybe straight men we're speaking to specifically, but I know a lot of queer men also struggle with this of like feeling really emotionally safe within themselves, where like if you get rejected or if someone says, you know, this after a couple dates I'm just not feeling that, like really feeling like they can respect that person's decision and know ultimately I like who I am. I have so much to offer. I wish this person well, and maybe I'm really bummed about it, but I know that the right person for me is going to say yes because I actually really like me.
Yeah, so I feel like it's two broad categories, and this is one, and I'm totally with you on one, and I feel like almost nobody is able to speak to both categories. So I'm just going to use the example that we were at like 15 minutes ago, where you were like, when you like say things about your age or like I look thin or whatever, and then you're like, you're supposed to say this or whatever, right? Like in the context of meeting someone in a bar that you're interested in or on a date or whatever, it's funny because like that's your sense of humor.
Yeah.
But the problem is,
I can be a little self-deprecating, a little bit. But
it's not an issue for you at all.
Right.
It's if a guy takes the bait on that and starts playing like student to your teacher in that way.
Yeah.
It's like you sort of subtly create this dynamic where you're coaching him how to be attractive to you or how to make you feel good. And even though you get what you want, you kind of lose respect for him a little bit. And I feel like to you, that probably seems pretty intuitive, or maybe not.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like how you put that way, and it's good to get that perspective. I think I may use some of that humor as like to platonicize.
Yeah.
To be like,
which is a great way to use it.
Yeah, which is like, hey, you can be safe. Like sometimes if I'm doing that in a, I mean, I have no idea what our friendship or like what our relationship will be, but like in this context where we are working together.
Yeah.
I mean, we could flirt. That's fine too.
I mean, because that could teeter towards flirting or not, depending how I respond to it.
Yeah, totally. But also, it's a way sometimes to like I sometimes will overextend myself and make a man feel safe. Of like, don't worry, you don't have to constantly wonder if like what this is gonna be, or like think that we're gonna hook up, but we could. But I think I also distance myself of like, well, if he doesn't want to hook up with me, it's okay because I already set the energy that we can just be friends.
Yeah, it's kind of like a pre-defense mechanism kind of thing.
Yeah, or like I don't want to get my hopes up that I like could be into this guy because I can just kind of make it very friendship right away.
What I'll say to people who are listening, because I think, actually, because you're on here, I won't get as much of a male-dominated audience for this one, which is good.
You don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But you have female friends. So usually I think I probably have more men than women watching.
Yeah.
I think the guys generally have no idea what we're talking about right now. Like, I really think that. It's like this subtle dynamic. It's like, wait, I should just be like, oh, no, you look great no matter what. Like, it's different to say that, and it's different to say it when you're prompted to say it. And I feel like, so there's this inner self-worth thing that matters for relationship dynamics, but then there's also, like, it's sort of this technical knowledge, which I think is very close to saying just be empathetic and be understanding and have situational awareness, but, like, those are skills to a large extent in my mind.
Well,
I think empathy is a skill. It's both, but it's not just a skill. It's like an inherent quality, but it's also a skill set that you can. It's funny because I think it's correct that it seems obvious to you, but I don't think guys see that as obvious.
Yeah, and I just going back to the skill set and like tying it to you as a coach and like an inherent self-worth, like I feel like that is.
And then I want to talk about your behind the scenes stuff. There's like a whole separate topic just to make sure that we don't miss that.
Yeah, so like that is what I'm really excited about for men, to coach men who have that background, that it's really not just about getting the external, because you can get men to get girls, you can get men to get cars, you can get men to get money, same with women too, but like anyone. But that is just filling the hole.
Yeah.
And if you aren't able to teach yourself or know that actually what's really important is the connection to self, and really believing that you, and actually really loving yourself and liking yourself, it is so vulnerable. But it's like RuPaul says, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else? Like, truly, any relationship is going to be stale, or it's just not going to work if you don't actually have that base to really actually like who you are, enjoy who you are, and not define yourself by who you're fucking or how many girls you can get or how many girls you can talk to. Like, it's just going to perpetuate this emptiness and this continuation of this gap that, like, women are really, like, at hyper speed, like, taking care of the inside. Not every woman.
Yeah.
But there's
I know a lot of exceptions, but yes, I think on average, way better than men.
Yeah, and again, we just are societally built to be in community with each other more, to tap into our emotions more, because we have that feminine energy, and everyone is a mix of feminine and masculine energy.
Yeah.
It's not just women who have feminine energy. Men have feminine energy too, and they need that. They need to be able to receive, and they need to be able to, like, know how to hold space.
Yeah, I think it is, like, I hate using the 80-20 rule because it's the most cliche thing ever, but I do think it's kind of that where, I mean, especially, I think it is almost fully applicable in terms of attraction. Like, men care 80% what you look like and 20% about the rest of you, your personality, and then the ratio is almost inverted in the, like, from women to men.
Yeah,
and maybe it's
depends.
60-40 and it's not 80-20, but I'm like,
Yeah.
what would be the societal average? I don't know. But
I don't know.
But I think it's...
I think men are extremely visual. And
right.
they
Visual
look
is
their
the
eyes
primary
first.
driver for
Yes.
men,
Yes.
and visuals are secondary driver for women.
Yes, totally.
And
Because
whatever percentage is semantics, like, but it's clearly one is more and the other is less.
Of course. And, you know, I think with social media, that's kind of shifting for everybody. I think, like, aesthetics are becoming, and also the dating apps, like, aesthetics,
Yeah.
I feel like, especially for women, are becoming a little bit more important than they,
Well,
or their brain is telling them it's more important than it actually is.
I think this is probably, maybe this is your experience, you know people who have had this experience. I think women actually believe that looks matter to them more than they do, and then when they get into the real life situation, they're like, wait, I was so attracted to him based on his Hinge profile or his Instagram or what I remember of the first time I met him, and now, like, his vibe, like, it's
Totally.
not matching.
Yeah, that's why women
they're
get the ick
surprised
more than men do.
Men don't even get the ick at all. It's not even a thing. I really
Yeah.
don't think it ever happens.
Because women will maybe go off visuals first, or whatever they think is, like, the job or the car, whatever superficial. I feel, not that I don't have any superficial wants, I definitely do, and I definitely have an image of, like, the partner that I want, but I feel like I'm in circles where it's, like, really emotional depth, and like, the women that I know really want men who want emotional depth, and also I have a lot of queer friends, so it's kind of like those things kind of get all mixed up, and
Yeah.
they're not as black and white as they are for hetero.
That's something I wish I knew more about, honestly, because
Yeah.
like, I'm talking specifically, like, male-female
Yes.
heterosexual dynamics, and, like, I know that probably what I'm saying only partially applies to, like, the gay community. Like, it's not going to
totally.
exactly match.
Yeah, and it's cool to have both, and I have a lot of friends who are poly or bi and are in various different relationship situations, which, like, sometimes make no sense to me and make me, like, feel very anxious when I think about having that arrangement for myself. I'm like, I guess I'm just, like, monogamous and straight. Like,
really
I know
normal.
that's or I'm like, that's, like, annoying now because there's so many options. But I also, anyways, we could go on another tangent of all of that, but going back to, like, the initial attraction is different for sure.
Yeah.
It can be more energy again because women literally have wombs. Like, everything is inside of us. Like, our genitals are inside, where we make a baby's inside, where we have our hormones, like, our periods, like, come from inside and then just fucking spew out.
Just say more about that.
Yeah. But
that's a good tangent.
But all of this happens on the inside. And so it is a lot easier for us, given the society, given the circles we're in, you know, given the people who are encouraging us, who, you know, we're the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. So I know there are some women that are not do not want to access their emotions and are extremely avoidant or just feel like it's not important. But I think the majority of women are moving towards understanding themselves more and making space for their emotions, and it's just happening at a faster speed, I think, than for men. But I think that's why we need people like you have a strong why who are like, hey, I can help you like get the thing maybe you think you want, but actually the deeper layer, which will make life more sustainable and feel better, and actually attract the partner, the woman that's going to be like your ride or die, your number one, your partner, your help, like the person to help you as your parents die. Like, you want that person who can actually be next to you and hold your hand and can actually make food when you're completely depressed because you lost a job or something didn't work out. Like, you want that person that's like, I have your back. And you can only access that emotional depth if you have that emotional depth inside of you.
Yeah. Maybe you know what, this will be too long of a tangent. I do think the women who are avoidant and like that's just kind of who they are, I do think that comes back up at some point. Like, that's them suppressing stuff that is biological. I'll tell you that off camera because I've already talked about this on camera too much.
Do you meet a lot of avoidant women?
No, not a lot. I just have specific examples.
Okay. Well, I feel like everybody, I don't know if this is just my circle or my experience, but everyone is like, there's so many avoidant men. Like, men are more avoidant and women are more anxious. But I have some friends who are avoidant, and because I lean more anxious, a lot of my friendships tend to be not very, but like slightly more, need a little bit more distance than I do, and I want closeness more than anything. And I've learned to take care of myself in that way. I have a coach that I work with and I have worked with, because it got really bad a couple of years ago with my last boyfriend, like 2.5 years ago, and I haven't dated since because I was just like, I was just a wreck. Like, everything was brought up and triggered, and I needed to take time to be like, I can't act like this anymore. Like, I have to have a new identity. And I mean, and he was avoidant, but like, I ruined the relationship as much as he did because it was just that, like, that trap that we were in. And I didn't know I was doing it, but if I want the relationship I just described, like, if I want a really emotionally secure, supportive, kind, empathetic, funny, adventurous man, I have to be that. And a good communicator, I have to be that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's crazy how many people say they want a good communicator when they can't communicate.
Right, yeah. And I feel like I learned that the hard way, too. And I'm working on that. I actually feel like I have 2 friends that I need to say, like, hey, this thing really hurt me, but I'm really scared. I'm really scared to have that conversation with them, even though I know they love me.
Do you want to just say it here and then we'll send it to them?
So...
Wait, so why do you, the Gen Z versus millennial thing? Let's do that.
Okay.
Because you were saying how Gen Z guys might be better suited now to understand relationships because of different upbringing, or they're less jaded, or what do you think it is? Exposure
to these conversations at a younger age. I think they're getting into therapy earlier. I think their moms kind of grew up with more, I'm saying their moms, but like their parents potentially, and this is all like socioeconomic stuff too, and like cultural stuff too, even as Americans, like we have tons of different cultures, and encouragement to heal or not, like their parents had them in like the mid 90s, right? And so they kind of grew up in the early 2000s, so there was just more access to have these conversations about healing, and they learned from their parents who like had them in the late 70s, mid 80s, you know, like I think we're just getting a lot more aware, and I'm also speaking to like the bubble that is like New York City,
right?
Like I feel like 27, 28-year-old dudes are also like super straight, but like wear nail polish or like chokers, like we're talking like the Harry Styles or the Benson Boones, like they're just so much more comfortable with their sexuality, which I think makes women feel a little bit safer. And they, again, this could just be in New York, but I feel like it
might just be in Brooklyn, because I don't know anyone like that. I really don't. Yeah.
But we're seeing it in pop culture so much, so it's coming from somewhere.
Right. Although I'm probably out in
Do you have any gay friends? Like any buds?
No one that I'm
man?
close with, but friendly with a bunch, but not like close friends at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess
This may just be so Brooklyn, but we're seeing in LA and Austin and like I think the big cities are having kind of. I mean, you're in Jersey, so that's a whole other.
But so I've been, Jersey. No, let's not talk about Jersey. It's too triggering. I've probably spent 2 nights on average a week in West Village bars over the last 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And it's finance bro Gen Z central. And so like I know that demographic really well, and those guys don't match what you're describing.
Yeah, and I don't know any of them. I'm like Brooklyn, Lower East Side artists, creatives, even like actually working at the space here, this workspace. Like in tech, I'm seeing also like some kooky weirdos. I'm like, oh, that's fun, but they're like coming in with their girlfriends.
Oh,
I'm like,
really?
oh, okay,
Okay.
cool. And actually, it attracts a lot of international tech people, too. So folks from Berlin and also I think getting out of the U.S. is, like, so helpful
That's probably
for dating,
such
too.
a huge thing. Like, the guys you're describing, the way I'm imagining them, you said Berlin. I'm like, oh, yeah, they're probably European.
Yeah.
They're probably not New Yorkers.
I met this guy in, although I met this guy when I went to Florence. I spent the first 4 days in Rome. I was so lonely, and I had this, like, egotistical idea that, like, I would get to Italy, and usually my hair's out, and I have big curly hair, and, like, they're gonna be like, who is this American model, like, gorgeous woman? And it was, like, a city, like, everyone's doing their thing, you know.
It's just like here.
Yeah, it's, like, people are busy. There were some tourists, but it was April, so it wasn't that bad. I didn't talk to anybody until the very last day. I went on a food tour with, like, some international people and Americans, and there was one girl traveling by herself from the Philippines, and we like really connected, and we spent the whole day together. That was my birthday, and I was like, okay, I can go to Florence. Like the next day I was going to Florence, and I had a breakdown on like day 2 that was like, I haven't spoken to anybody in 2 days. Also, there's a language barrier. I don't speak Italian, but I just thought I was gonna be like, they were gonna be so friendly, and like people are just doing their thing. And but you know, I live in the fantasy where like I catch someone's eye and they're like, oh, what are you reading, you know, all that bullshit that like that's like sometimes happens but not that consistently.
It is crazy though, like you say that, and I know that's like a common female fantasy, and yet, not to bring it back to this, but like men don't think that exists. Because I'm now interacting, and maybe this has worked my Gen Z perception also. I'm interacting with the 2 online Gen Z cohort of people, and all they'll say is, if you're not over 6 feet tall, if you're not incredibly jacked, good looking, whatever, they don't want you to approach them. And some of them will say, even just in general, they want to be left alone. And then you say something like that, and I know you're right, because real people say that.
Yeah, I'm a little old school. That I want to be approached. But no.
Girls I know who are 25 say the same thing. It's just anyone who's in the actual world will say what you're saying.
Yeah.
And people who only live online say the opposite.
Right.
And so it just, it's crazy that even there's no amount of people like you saying that will convince the people who only live online that they should actually behave that way. To just be friendly, and you never know what could happen.
And
or just be Italian.
Or just be an Italian man on Hinge. I have no idea what to do about that. I mean, I think they will just maybe they'll just be a whole generation that are just not mating and not meeting each other.
Well, I saw, this is crazy I don't even know if the stat's real, but I saw it. Do you know Tom Bilyeu?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so I was watching
to his wife too. On
yeah,
YouTube.
she is great.
Yeah.
Them together is great, and
Yeah.
also they have opposite political views, so it's helpful to have them together.
That's funny. Yeah.
Because I like him more, but I agree with her politically more. But I just like the way he talks more. Anyway, when they're together, it's really good stuff. But he was showing the stats on virginity for men currently, and in 2018, the percentage of guys 18 to 30 that had ever slept with anyone, it was like 30%, or I think in 2018 it was 27% of men were virgins at 30 or under.
Wow.
That number's double since 2018. It's 55 now.
That's over half.
Yeah.
I mean,
Up to 30 years old.
I mean, again, this comes from like helping people build self-worth, whether you're online or not. Like, and to be like, it's actually worth it to do something different than what you're currently doing, and you will win, even though you'll get a couple losses. Like,
you have to knock yourself down a little bit first, and
and you
just take this identity shift that makes you feel bad initially, and then you rebuild it a bit.
Yeah, and you just have to try. I mean, I think this is all a part of the conversation. I don't know if the pendulum's swinging a certain way, if we're going into a new trend. I mean, do you ever listen to Esther Perel or Esther Perel's podcast?
I feel like that's so familiar. I'm not sure that.
I would highly recommend listening to her. She's like very, very famous European psychologist, therapist, and it's just, but she's just so, she does live therapy sessions on her podcast, and she's just so intuitive. Like, no session, no podcast is the same. And it's really, and it's a lot of the one I listened to today was this man who was 40 years old, and he had never had a relationship longer than 3 or 4 months. And she really goes in and dives deep into like what's actually happening. Because like getting into a relationship is a whole other topic.
Yeah.
And, like, romantic relationships are the only relationship that mirrors the relationship you had with your primary caregivers. Like, your friendships don't mirror them. We can give our friends a little bit more leeway, you know, for not texting us back for a couple days. We can give our friends a little bit more grace, but when it comes to a romantic bonded relationship, especially when there's sex, especially with women, because those dopamine lasts longer in women after sex than it does for men. It lasts like maybe a couple days, and for women it can last up to 7 to 8 days. So especially if you keep having sex with the same person that you haven't actually had a bond with, or had communication, or built like a strong trust with, that's when things start to get, especially for anxiously attached women, that's when like not the crazy comes in, but just like you're not able to see, like everything gets blurry. You start overly, you start having expectations that you wouldn't have on anyone else because that bond is stronger. And also when you get into the relationship, even if you do have that bond, like the expectations are different, and it means a lot more, especially with people being so isolated. If we are a couple, if we are a pair, that means so much more to me than any of my outside relationships, because I have this expectation that you're going to be there for me as my best friend, as my counselor, as my cheerleader, as my financier, as my as my talking head, as my best friend, as my friend's best friend, you know, like, and all of those, you know, can be talked about and communicated with if two people have the skills for it.
There's increasingly less people with skills for that. That's my concern. It just seems so obvious.
Well, I mean, that's better for your business, right?
I know. I do feel like for my business and for my social life, it's like the bar's never been lower. And sometimes I get excited by that, and then I feel gross for being excited by that, because I'm a very competitive person, and I like the idea that I'm going up against the best. And also, obviously, I want people to do well. Like, I want other people besides me to be happy. I'm not a sociopath. Yeah. So, like, whenever I get into this mindset of, oh, everyone else sucks, it's so easy for me, I have to immediately pull back and say, I don't want to live in that world.
Do you feel that it is easy? Like, when you go out, you're able to communicate better with people? Not just women?
I feel like the bar for being seen as cool is really low. As like non-creepy, non-weird, and fun. Yeah. That bar is nothing. The bar for actually getting into a relationship with someone, though, that I don't think is as clear, because the standards and the expectations are not the same as they used to be. So there's so many girls on social media that are saying, all I want is someone to just be normal. That's not literally true. Yeah. There's so much else that is being, like, this is a conversation I was having. I didn't post this one yet. Maybe I'll just use this as the clip. But I think the biggest factor for whether a girl will be in a relationship with a guy that she's been hooking up with, like, decide this is a relationship now, not just a casual thing, the biggest factor might just be how many of her friends are already in relationships, because of the social expectation and the social pressure. If all of your friends are already with someone and you are kind of borderline about someone, you're like, I want that too. But if all of your friends are single, take the opposite example, that's a heavy influence to just still be part of the tribe. And I think that there's a bunch of stuff like that
It depends. Again, it depends on how much does that woman know herself.
If she's really independent, then this becomes less of a problem. But I feel like a lot less people are super independent anymore. And they kind of are stuck in the groupthink of society, and so they don't want to be ostracized from their friend group for having a different life than everybody.
Well, I think you got a fucked up friend group if you can't have
I think
people
most people do.
who support you.
But these problems all kind of tie together because I do think that people have fucked up friend groups, and there's a lot of transactional behavior.
Matt, I think you're hanging out with women and men who are way too young. Like, I think I need to bring you up into people who are our age that are having...
I feel like it's funny. Brett and I'll call him out here. All of our friends think that everyone we hang out with is in their 20s.
It's the way that you're talking about it is like...
Maybe it's because I'm still stuck on using the word girl instead of woman. Maybe. And maybe that's why it comes off that way. I'm not sure. But I guess
I'm just... It sounds like me and my friends in my 20s. Like, yes, I think I was really overly concerned about... I mean, I don't know. I think it's different because
I'm just running through the ages in my head of, like, the last 6 times I went on 4 more dates with someone, the youngest they were was 27, and it was like 27 to 34 is the age range.
That's too young.
I'm 35. I
think like no one under 33.
Only one of them was under 30.
27 is so young, dude. Not even in age, I mean mentally. Like, what happened to me at 30 was like my life exploded. Like, everything changed. I mean, astrology, you're going through your Saturn return, so that's a huge shift. So like, but also I'm not saying that you can't find a mature person who is in their 20s. I have no idea.
And I've met a lot of immature people in their 30s.
Yeah, and again, it depends on... It's all... If we're talking relationships now, it actually doesn't even matter who they are, what their age is. If you don't know exactly what you want, I also think, like, hooking up is a problem. Like, I think if you are serious about dating someone, like, sex is gone.
Well, this is the problem for me. I'm in a weird in-between space where I don't know where I'm at.
Yeah, and that's fair.
So I'm going to have issues currently because part of it is because I want to teach this to people, I feel like I have to kind of be in it. So I'm living this sort of paradox, because if I were in a committed monogamous relationship already, it would be a lot harder to be out all the time.
I don't think you need... See, if I was a man and I wanted to get dating advice or, like, work with a dating coach, I would want him to be married. Because you want to work with someone who has what you already have.
So most guys... I feel like relationship coaches, yes. Most guys are struggling just at the level of, how do I go to a bar and not freak out in my body and go say hi to people?
So that's your ideal client?
I don't think so. I think the ideal client is somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
But
so then you need to be above the
That's
middle.
the group that needs the most help. But it feels like if I were to just give up on that group, it is probably true that a lot of them can't be helped. Like, if they're dealing with that much anxiety, and so this is just kind of... The point is, I'm still kind of struggling with who's my market, who are the people that can be helped, who even wants to be helped, where do I put my attention?
And also continue to take care of yourself. Like, the more that you know yourself, and the more that you actually really love yourself and you don't need the validation of women to prove that you can be a good dating coach, or to prove that you can be a good man, or to prove that you can be a good boyfriend, like, you knowing that in yourself and having incredible relationships and treating people kindly, which I know you do, like, that is actually what will bring in the type of women that you really enjoy, and that you can say, like, hey, I'm actually really into you, and I'm trying something where I'm not being physically I'm not being physically intimate with a woman until, you know, we really feel like we're a good match, and I want to really get to know you, and, like, what do you think about that? You know, like, again, if you're moving towards, and you'll know when you really like someone, and you're like, I actually could see this developing. I want to spend more time with this person to, like, know each other as people, because the physical stuff just, like, really blurs everything.
I've done both.
Yeah.
I have no idea which is better. I really don't.
How did you get into your last relationship?
We met at a bar in the West Village.
But how did you get into the relationship?
Oh, I mean, it felt like a relationship from basically the second or third time we met.
Okay.
But then I also had a situation where I got, like, obsessed with someone who I was friends with, and nothing had ever happened physically between us, and, like, nothing ever did happen.
Yeah.
So we really got to know each other, but we weren't even dating.
Yeah.
So that's, like, the two complete opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's so case by case.
Yeah, and it also depends on,
who
like,
they are. Even if I'm the same in every context, they're different in every context. It depends on so many things.
Yeah, but you don't want to be the same. You are changing.
No, I am too. I'm
growing.
saying even if I were. This is to the other thing you said, though, this analogy is going to sound weird, but, like, to be a dating coach, you don't have to be the best at it or whatever. I was, for sure, in high school, I was the worst player on my varsity basketball team, but I was for sure the best coach of any person on the team. I coached youth basketball while I was still in high school, and I knew I was really good at that, even though my capabilities to play basketball were, I don't know, above average, but nothing special. And yeah, I have to constantly remind myself, I know I'm better at explaining things than almost anybody.
Yeah.
The way I live is a big part of that. Like, you need the reference experience to be able to explain the stuff that's happening, but you don't. It's weird to view. So this could be another hour tangent. I'll try to do this concisely and see what you think about it, because I'm a really empathetic person, at least most of the time, but at the same time, my dating life is almost a marketing tool. And so I don't want to view it that way, but like, other guys will see it that way. Like, if a guy wants to learn dating from another guy, it would be nice if they just said, oh, he's married. That's helpful to know that he did that. But then the next question they're going to ask is, how hot is his wife? That's just what they're going to say.
Yeah.
And the more attractive she is, the more money that guy's going to make.
Also, I feel like you're trying to control a little too much.
I don't actually want to control for that. I'm just saying it's a...
You don't know that every single man's going to say
Not
that.
every.
And again, it's for your business. One, yes, you're going to have a lot of boundaries of, like, because this is something in your life that you want and you're dealing with another human being, like, where are your boundaries between, like, your work, your research, and also your actual heart and soul, like what you want in your life. And
to me, it's fun, the project of the complete unknown and being able to figure that out on the fly. I actually like that. I don't view it as a problem for me. I just view it as, like, upcoming confusion.
Right.
But I kind of like that. Maybe I'm toxic.
But also, but then just be okay with, and maybe you are with getting confusing a lot of women. Yeah,
which has happened recently, which I'm just like, okay.
Right.
I'll progressively make it less confusing. Gradually over time.
And so now you see why can be so difficult for women to be dating, because men are out here just being like, yeah, I'll just be confusing. when we're like, actually, I want a really deep relationship and I'm trying. Yeah. And I'm like, maybe I should change. Maybe it's something I'm not doing. No, people are just acknowledging that they don't know what they want and they're being confusing.
In the most recent thing that was semi-serious, the amount of depth was not a confusing part. I was like, no, like, I'm not trying to date other people. Yeah. Yeah. I did what some people would call the cardinal sin as a guy of bringing up the exclusive thing first.
Why is that a cardinal sin?
It's just what most, like, men's dating coaches would say, because it sets up the dynamic and, like, she has the power. Yeah. Which I think is, like...
I think that's crazy.
I have not yet figured out in my brain if that's crazy or not.
Tell
me why it's crazy.
I feel like, again, the most important thing for women, we talked about, it's not visual, it's safety, it's feeling safe. So if a woman knows that a man is like, hey, says to me, that should just speak for me, not for all women. If a man that I'm dating, I like him, we're getting along, if he brings to me sooner than later, hey, I really like you, I actually don't need to sleep with anyone else. As I know that straight men are obsessed with women.
Yeah, although if he does it at the beginning, you're like, does this guy have no other options?
I'd never think that.
Okay.
But again, if it's good, I never think that. I just feel like, okay, he's being honest with me, and again, for my life, I'm looking to have, at least at the beginning, like a monogamous, committed relationship. So if a man, that's what I'm calling in.
Yeah.
So if a man says that, hey, I like you enough to stop sleeping with other women, I'm like, wow, he must really fucking like me. And that makes me happy, and I can trust this person. Because he also can tell me how he feels.
Yeah, I do think, though, there's so much confusion in the way women understand male psychology because, like, tell me if I'm wrong, but the way you're imagining this scenario is this is someone you already like that you're already into.
Yeah, that we've been dating for a while.
Right, so there are scenarios where it's more blurry and it's the beginning. And let's say you've met someone 5 times and they're starting to say that stuff to you. You don't have a clear picture of who they are yet. And so to give that away at the beginning, it affects the way you perceive them. If you already know you like them, then it's different. But if you're still kind of figuring out to what degree you like them and they're saying, oh yeah, no, just you, that's all. And then you're kind of like, oh, I don't understand, like, we barely know each other.
Well, it depends on tone, it depends on time, and also it depends on, like, the thought of, like, giving away. Again, it's like, love is a risk. Like, it's a power balance. It's always going to be that. So how much do you like someone to be vulnerable? And being in a relationship is vulnerable, and I think that is the hardest part for a lot of men right now, is they're so scared to be vulnerable.
Yeah. I mean, I do think there's 100 variables on this stuff that makes every context so different.
Yes.
Because...
And I'm speaking to my own experience.
Yeah, and I also think there are certain things that sort of get taken for granted. Like, you take for granted that a guy who would say that to you is already into you. But, like, some guys will use that as a manipulation tactic.
Totally. And
I have a bunch of female friends who have had that happen to them before.
Yeah, and hopefully I know myself enough, and I've done enough work on myself where I can feel the energy, understand the energy, really take into account all the other actions that he's doing. What the behavior is like.
Yeah.
If it's like, if he's saying something but not doing it, or if he's just saying things just to say them but not following through, or if I actually feel like when he's with me, he's present. But that's, again, me knowing myself and me trusting my gut to be like, yeah, I can really trust this person.
It might be different for you just because you have probably more awareness of people. Like, if you're a very present person, then you can tell when other people are present. And so you can actually read that. If you're not a present person, which I think is most people, they can't tell how genuine someone else is. And then it becomes much harder. And so, yes, you have to fix yourself first. This is what we're
talking about. This is the work.
Yeah.
Matt, this is the work. You have to get to know yourself.
Yeah.
Because that's how you can know what the fuck's going on.
But, yes, I totally agree with you. I totally agree.
Like, you just have to, like, date and then, like...
No, I do think other people are a good way to learn about yourself to some extent.
Yeah, it's like one of the main ways, right? Because we and at some point we can do all the work we want. I can do all the work I want on myself, but actually the true healing comes in a relationship.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I've been so scared about.
Right. You're like...
Because I've had a couple flings before that. Even this guy that I met in Florence, and it was so hot, and, like, he was not, like...
Yeah, sorry, I sidetracked us because you were in the middle. You were about to go into it.
I forgot about that.
All right, let's do it.
Well, how much time do we have also?
Yeah, let's see what time it is.
6:35.
Okay. So we actually do have to get out of here at 7.
Yeah, but it's fine.
Okay.
It's like
we can do like 20 more minutes.
Okay. So we just met on Hinge. I, like, opened the app when I got to Florence. I'm like, I'm just going to be on this for one day. If I don't meet anybody, that's totally fine. And granted, this was in April. I hadn't had sex or dated anybody since, like, November. But I could go like a year. I don't like to, but I've gone like years without having sex because I just am like, it gets way too emotional. Mm-hmm. So I got on Hinge. I meet this guy. Kind of nervous to meet this person in another country. His profile's really hot, and I'm like, I'm just scared he's not going to look like his picture, but we can just go out on it. And we're going to a place near my Airbnb, so I can always just be like, bye. Meet up immediately. I'm like, whoa, like the energy, how he looks. He's so goofy. He has a great smile. And we have a great time. And then we ended up spending like every single day together, like the whole time together, and not like the whole day. Cause I was like plugged into his life. He's working. He's got his whole thing going on.
But, like, you saw him after work every day and stuff.
Yeah. And I went over to his apartment and he cooked for me, and I didn't book my Airbnb. I booked my Airbnb through Thursday, but I wasn't leaving until Friday. I was flying to Amsterdam. So I was like, is there a chance I can stay with you on Thursday? I'm like, yeah, of course, absolutely. Like, it felt so fun. He didn't speak English that well, and yet we were like, he had me cracking up. Like, there was just such a connection. But after, like, day 3, I felt really anxious. Like, I hadn't had sex with someone this much, the same person in a long time. Plus, we were really intimate, like, laying in bed all day, and I was like, I just woke up by myself on the 3rd day, and I was like, I feel a little unstable. Like, I'm like, haven't experienced this in a long time, and I know it's gonna end, but also, like, my brain was trying to protect me of, like, this is dangerous. Like, you're gonna get hurt, you're gonna get hurt, you're gonna get hurt, you're gonna get hurt. Even though it wasn't saying that, I could feel the feelings. Yeah. And
which I think that is higher level paradigm of self-understanding than most people have.
Yeah, well, like I said, because I had, by my last actual relationship, it was so, like, emotionally, I was, like, putting myself through the ring. My inner child was really scared. The constant abandonment. And to make a long story short, like, my mom's bipolar, BPD, my parents had a brutal divorce when I was 14, 15, my dad left for another family, so I learned, subconsciously, I learned some BPD, which is borderline personality disorder, ways of functioning. Like, the attention and the love was very Jekyll and Hyde, so I never felt safe. I mean, I learned that growing up now, and I understand, and I feel a lot of empathy for my mom, because she didn't have the skills. She lost her mom when she was 24. Anyways, so I've been unlearning a lot of these skills. And also, anxious attachment is not just for romantic relationships. I was anxiously attached to money, to opportunities, to friendships, and to food sometimes, of, like, the fear of, like, when am I, like, not having enough food, or, like, it's really sneaky. Anyways, I don't remember why I was talking about this person, but where I was talking about this guy that I met in Italy, but dating or something. All to say that I don't know. What were we were
talking about understanding yourself as a. Was that the point we were on? Understanding yourself before you can.
Yeah, understanding myself. I guess having that awareness, also meeting someone that, like, it felt so easy and fun, and it reminded me that, like, I don't have to force it when I do. I mean, I'm on Hinge here, and I do meet really nice guys, but I don't really feel like fun. Like, I don't feel like I'm laughing. We're getting to know each other, but I'm like, I think I'm looking for something that feels a little bit more playful. Yeah.
But I feel like that advice should be taken very seriously by the entire male species. It really is.
That should feel playful.
Yeah.
But
everyone's so serious.
But I also just think it's an energy thing. Like, I don't think, and I don't know really much about this guy that I met in Italy, like, as much as we could fit into 6 days. And, like, I don't know if he also didn't really, he was so hot, but he seemed like he, like, didn't feel very attractive. He didn't really like himself. Anytime I would say something about his appearance, he'd be like, oh, no. I don't know if that's an Italian thing, or if I'm like, so I don't know if it was just this connection, if he's like this with a lot of people. Also, avoidant men are, like, subconsciously very attractive to me. Like, we always have a lot of fun, and it is, like, always really silly and goofy at the top, and it's, like, really hot and heavy, and, like, really, like, sparky at the beginning. Like, it's so many sparks. So I'm like, this is it. This is, like, what I want. And then the emotional depths, like, the river, like, keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger in between us emotionally. And I haven't figured out, like,
I do feel like starting that way is the recipe for success, but just being mindful, like, cutting it off quickly if you start to get that anxious thing happening.
Yes, which I'm working on, because it used to be so and when I talk about anxious like attachment, it's actually not even fear of the relationship. It is the fear of myself, like, being a bully, like beating up myself, or me not trusting myself. Because when I start to see those signs, historically, I've been like, oh, it's okay, like, just let it go. Like, kind of the conversations I want to have with my friends, I'm like, it's fine, you're overreacting, don't worry about it. But then I'm constantly making myself smaller and smaller and smaller, and it just compounds. So it's kind of doing the hard thing, which is like saying the thing that you feel, and if they react poorly, that's your answer.
All right, I'm going to use this as a semi-weird segue to social media.
We might have to close it up soon, unfortunately.
I want to do this before we're done in the next 10, 15 minutes or whatever. So you're coaching people on social media. You said something before about being okay, just saying, being vulnerable and expressing yourself. I feel like currently where I'm at, I'm putting my basically whole personality on the internet. I mean, you're doing it right now. Like, this is pretty open.
Yeah.
People don't normally talk like this with cameras in front of them.
Oh, really? We just are in completely different worlds. I'm like listening to therapy podcasts, like,
where they talk about themselves that way?
Yeah. Okay. Where they talk about their growth, their work.
Do you know anyone personally that shares their whole life on the internet?
I mean, there's this one girl that was popping up for me for a while who has BPD, which she would have like multiple crying videos and talking about her days and her moods and her life, and she had a relationship and then she was not in a relationship, and I don't know her personally, but I've seen her on Instagram.
But you know a lot of people. I know a lot of people.
Yeah.
I know almost nobody that at least semi-regularly talks about what's happening in their life on camera.
Like in their day-to-day or like their emotional life?
Any of it.
Okay.
Because Brett and I did this exercise. It was, okay, how many people do we know that say something on camera about anything related to themselves more than twice a week? And you're probably on a list of 5 people.
Yeah. I will say
like, it's very few.
My coach, Rachel Kelly, I mean, she has to talk about her experience, and she talks about, like, moving through the nervous system and, like, what we're addicted to, what are addictive behaviors. So I guess she talks about that probably a lot more, but that's her business. But yeah,
Do you think everyone should be doing that? Because I sort of feel like maybe is the answer to that.
Like talking about themselves in like a day in the life, or what they're going through, what they're feeling. I
would say it doesn't have to be all of the above, but I would say almost every person should at least be doing one of those things, most likely. Pick and choose. Some people, all of them, I guess, if you're someone who really feels like you need to express yourself. To me, it almost functions as a form of therapy. I don't
think they should be.
Okay.
I think they should be in therapy. I think they should be with a professional. And it takes a while to find the right person. I think they should people should take, before posting how you feel on Instagram, take a long, hard look at the people in your circle and the people around you, and see if you have supportive friends, seeing if you're eating well, seeing if you're moving your body in a way that's helpful.
I think you're imagining a different category.
I don't know anyone who is I can't picture anyone who's in your circle, and I don't think you can picture anyone who's in my circle.
I'm imagining people with a lot of problems talking about their problems directly.
I don't think they should do
circle.
that.
No, I agree with you.
They have help.
On that, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm talking about people, like, I know a bunch of musicians and other aspiring creatives or business owners, like small business owners, and the marketing element aside, because obviously, I mean, this is partly what you're helping people with, right? Is coaching them to market their businesses.
I'm editing, I'm creating strategy, I'm posting for them. Oh, so you're saying, if people have a trade or a business, should they be talking about themselves as a person? If they are the personal brand, should they be talking about themselves more on Instagram?
Anyone who's a personal brand of any kind,
then of course.
Not someone who's dealing with bipolar disorder and just wants to talk about, unless, like, they want to make that their personal brand. But yes, if they've gone through therapy and stuff before.
I think it is their personal brand, and I do actually think that is helpful, and it was helpful for me the more I learn about it and also meet other people who have BPD, because it's helping me with my relationship with my mom, which I'm really working on healing, and I think is potentially a big block for romantic relationships. Like spiritually, I think it might be. Although I also feel like there's so many people with fucked up parents, and more fucked up parents than me. I'm really lucky, and I have a great relationship with my dad now. But who are in great relationships and they don't have great relationships with their parents. So I think there's a lot of blocks that I'm busting through. That's like, well, I can't have a relationship because of this, or well, I'm still single because of this, and well, I think it's like it's all stories. It's all stories. To answer your question, yeah, I think people should be more vulnerable in talking about themselves because people want to get to know people and they want to buy from people. But I also think any limiting belief, most of it is all a fear of being seen, fear of being more visible.
So this is kind of the reason I say it functions as therapy for me is not because I think it's a replacement for therapy. I've been through therapy like 3 different parts of my life. Most recently was 2017, actually probably 2018, 2019. So I haven't been to an actual therapist in 6 years, but I feel like I resolved almost everything that I needed to, at least up to this point.
Yeah.
The therapy I kind of mean is I have a fear of expressing myself fully doing it. That's literally just what I'm doing. It's exposure therapy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was not always comfortable being seen. So for that specific problem, posting on Instagram all the time is me getting progressively more used to that. And I no longer really have a problem being the center of attention. And maybe that'll become pathological at some point because I'm a Leo and it's inevitable.
Well,
of course.
I think the more you know yourself, you'll know what you'll put some boundaries up to it. If you're starting to destroy relationships because you're being psychologically or psychopathically seen,
Well, so there's the show called The Show About the Show. And it's this guy who he literally filmed his entire life and turned it into a TV show. I saw him give a talk about the newest and final season because the show has to be over because he's being sued by everyone he's ever met. His name is Kaveh Zahedi. He's like this incredible filmmaker, but also clearly not someone who most people would want to model their lives around. Like, he thinks Nathan Fielder doesn't go nearly far enough. He's like, that guy's soft. That's the way he talks.
And Nathan doesn't really talk about himself, ever. Like, it's... Everything he does is, like, him being this character and in relationship with other people. Yeah,
and I guess it's also that you don't know if it's actually real what he's doing.
Right.
There's sort of this ambiguity, like, is this actually his real life? Is he really upset about this? Does he really worry if he's autistic or not? Or this is just all a bit. This guy basically got divorced for his show. The worst example of it is he has 2 children who are 10, 11 years old, and every episode is about the making of the previous episode, essentially. So he's like, let's go to the park. And the kids are like, we don't want to go to the park. We don't want it to just be another thing for your show. And he's like, well, if you don't go to the park, then that's fine. This will get the rest of it. Okay. He's like, if you don't go to the park, then I have to use this part where you argued with me about going to the park. That'll be in the show. And so he's bullying people with his... Anyway,
yeah, that's tough.
His line, because he did a Q&A about the newest season, he's like, if the person isn't literally going to die over my content, then that's fine. Like, that's the line. As long as no one is killing themselves over his content, that's his line. Obviously, that's not my line. I kind of know where my line is. Anyone who... First of all, I have no interest in being the person, because I've gotten this on dates before, like, oh, are you going to, like, make a TikTok about this date? I hate that content. I think it's just dumb.
Yeah.
I just don't think it serves a purpose because it's purely just entertainment clickbait. No one's really learning from it.
Yeah.
And if I was going to be able to take something useful out of a situation like that, 1, I wouldn't use the person's name. 2, I probably would wait multiple months because then they wouldn't know it's about them.
Yeah.
And I would probably sort of maneuver the story a bit so that whoever it was, if they saw it, they wouldn't even realize it was about them. It would be like a small detail, not like, here's the whole thing that happened. And also, if anyone, like, you have full editing control over this. I'm not going to be like, gotcha, and then we just have to use everything you said. If you're like, I don't want the part about the Italian guy because he might watch this, I'd be like, sure, let's just take it out.
I hope he does. No.
So we'll just only use that part, and that'll be the whole podcast.
Yeah, I'm like, come visit me. I asked him to, I was like, you can come to, we were like WhatsApping for a while, and you can come to New York. He was like, I'm too poor. I'm like, why don't these fucking fall for broke men? What the fuck is wrong with me? But it was cute for a while, and then it started to get like just only sexual, and I was like, dang, that sucks. I wanted to have a love story. And he was like, how are you He was like, ciao, Bella, how are you? I'm like, oh, I'm good. I'm going to play the show, blah, blah, blah. I was like, how are you? And he's like, this is how I am. And I just get a dick pic.
I don't know anyone who communicates like that.
I was like, what? Who are you? I mean, if we're in a relationship, like, that could be hot, but, like, no.
Not as, like,
my
the
story.
primary mode of communication.
After 6 days hanging out? Like, what? No.
So that's probably a nice to have, like, had the feeling, and then you're not sitting around being like, oh, should I marry this guy because he's perfect? It's nice that it kind of came down.
Yes. I'm like, well,
now you have a realistic picture of him now?
He would have to change, a lot, and at least make enough money to come visit me. But I also am really spoiled because one of my best friends has, like, a crazy fairy tale love story. I don't know if we have time for me to tell
Taylor
it. Probably
Swift?
Not. No, that's my other best friend. No, an even better love story than Taylor Swift, if you can imagine. But, like, I don't know. Maybe we'll save that for the next episode.
Should we stop there? I feel like... Oh, let's talk about one more thing.
Okay.
The video of yours that did really well that we were messaging about a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Where you did the whole behind the scenes, and we'll make this, like, the last 5 minutes or something.
Yeah.
So, I watched that again yesterday, and... It's crazy. Like, it obviously is really good, and
but
it's such
not really.
No, but the reasons it's good. So it's much longer than I would have expected something like that to be.
Yeah.
But you have so much variety in what's being shown there, and I'm trying to be like, I'm trying to figure out what from that can be useful to other people. Like, why do you think showing so much of the build up to something that I guess you're in this bubble of people who all love Broadway, so maybe that's why because I'm just not aware of that subset of the internet. But I'm sure there are plenty of people who know nothing about your particular artistic stuff that just like that also.
Yeah.
Like, what is it about that, do you think?
I think I started it off. I think it moves really quickly.
Yeah.
I think it is variety, but it's also, there's a consistent thing with the note cards. Because you kind of see me in all these different areas with the same piece, like the same main thing of, like, I was writing on my so this is a BTS video, you can link it in the show notes, a BTS video of me getting ready to do this Carole King production where I wanted to be fully off book because we only had 8 rehearsals to put up this show. So I wanted to show up at rehearsal, like, not holding the book in my hand, not using any papers, completely memorized. And instead of carting around this big binder of the script and music, I wrote every single scene line on note cards. So my line would be on one side, and the line before me and after me would be on, one of the other sides. So that I could easily memorize the line before mine, turn it over, okay, that's my line, or however it worked out. So I took BTS of me at work, on the train, on the bus, meeting people at home, like everywhere. So in every single shot you see the note cards, either I'm writing it or I'm memorizing it. And it's also like...
I should be taking notes of this right now.
Yeah. It's also like, it's 0.5 seconds every single frame. So it goes...
Yeah, just a quick note on that, because I've made a lot of reels for friends who are musicians, shows, and reels of behind the scenes of podcast episodes, and just a bunch of reels of stuff happening. And when I look back a year or so ago, the pacing is so slow.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why did I let so much... It needs to be fast.
Yeah.
And there are a bunch of people who throw parties that I know, and people do all sorts of stuff, and they make reels of events, and it's just like, get to the point faster.
Yeah.
The speed, it like sort of tricks your brain into staying with it.
Yeah, and like all different like brightness and darkness and all this stuff. And I mean, I actually had no idea that would be so popular, like take off as much as it did, which is also the key to good content. But you can't fake not caring. You kind of just have to, like, the thing that you love, the piece of content you love that you spend the most time with is not going to do as well as the one you just fucking put out. Like, it's a weird, like, law of internet. I don't get it.
I'm thinking now about my 3 or 4, so I have 4 TikToks now that have at least 100,000 views. And 2 of them are exactly like what you said, and 2 of them are, I knew what point I was going to make, and I was like, I'm going to set up the camera and, like, I'm going to get into character and say this 12-second bit. So maybe I become a better actor. I don't know, because in general I agree with you.
Yeah.
If it seems, it doesn't matter if it literally is or not, but if it seems off the cuff and spontaneous, and maybe I figured out a little bit how to position the camera in a way where it seems like I accidentally set it on camera and it's not head on.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, and there's little marketing tricks too. I mean, starting off your video with a question, like, did I know something, or did you know, like,
yours
hooks.
does that, right?
Mine is, did I know that blah, 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 blah. No, I didn't. But blah, 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 no, I didn't. You know, I was
and
like,
you sort of sound like
my
you're in the
own
middle of a point. The video starts, you almost sound like you're in the middle of a thought.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. But, yeah, and it's also very niche theater because I'm talking about this role that I'm going to do. And other than that, like, I don't know. Like, I guess the text is really big, and I don't know. I have no idea.
We're both figuring it out.
Yeah.
I feel like social media is a video game, and I'm like, I'm at level 4 or something, and I kind of get some of the stuff, and there's so many more levels to figure out what kind of phrasing works and what kind of structure.
You'll never figure it out. You just have to be, the type of person, which I think you are, is like open to change and experimentation.
Yeah,
like,
you have to love, it's not just that you're okay with trial and error, you have to love trial and error.
Yeah, and like, you have to do like boots on the ground, like putting shit out there and like seeing what happens. So I really don't know. I think it's just a fun video too, and I think I also like in a couple clips, like, I'm in a sports bra, so like maybe that helps too. I'm not often. I just put up a video also with me and my sister go to the beach, and like we're in our bikinis, but like it's not the whole time. Like, I don't often show a ton of skin, I think, but I think just naturally if I do. Yeah,
and especially if it seems like it kind of is an accident, and
it's just part of it. I'm not trying to be an OnlyFans creator. Like, no tea, no shade. I love those girls. They're doing a great service. And like, I've done a couple like outfit try-ons, but I don't like start in my underwear. Again, there's no judgment. I just think, also if and when I do, it's kind of like, oh, it's just me in my natural day.
Right.
And it just ultimately is going to help, I think, unfortunately.
Yeah. I don't know.
I try not to abuse it.
That's good. Guys don't have this luxury, so we're just going to get annoyed if you keep talking about it.
Although I don't know, the algorithm, I think, knows that I'm a single woman and that I like men, because my Explore page is like...
It's just abs.
Yeah, and like hairy chest, and like men getting dressed, like completely like
do
in
men
their
have
underwear.
Get Ready With Me videos?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm not getting that on my For You page.
Right, you're getting tits and ass, and yeah.
Well, I'm getting men talking about golf. I'm not getting...
You're not getting boobs?
No, I am. I'm kidding.
Okay. I was like concerned. I was like, oh no! We need to change that.
I like golf too much.
I know you do. You need to like titties a little bit more. Yeah, a lot of Eastern European men who have like great style. I think they also know that I'm like European men, because that's all I'm getting.
The algorithm knows, so it's upsetting.
It's crazy. I'm getting a little annoyed at TikTok because I'm getting tons of relationship stuff, and it's so confusing to me. I'm trying to actually detox.
Well, so if you want this as motivation, apparently, all right, let's end on this point.
Okay.
TikTok will make your videos on a category do better if you watch videos within that same category. This is like, I've heard a couple people say this on random TikTok videos. So if you're in the dating space and you comment and watch and engage with other people's dating videos, it'll push your dating videos more. So if you're doing, like, if you're engaging with music content, it's more likely to push your music content for some reason. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
But it's a theory. I don't know.
Yeah. I just want to get I'm like taking a pause on listening to all my like relationship podcasts, and like try not to consume stuff about, because it's just like, what am I not doing? What am I doing wrong? Why am I still single? Like, I think that gets through my head. So I'm like, I think I just need to detox from all of love and relationships content for a while, if I can.
We're on this topic and we just spent a bunch of time talking about relationships and what everyone's doing wrong. So we're basically like, sorry we made you listen to that, because now you're already at this part of the episode.
Yeah, by the end, here's what you should do. If you feel like you're too desperate for something, take a break from it. Detox.
I like that advice. We hit a natural stop point.
Thank you so much for coming to my show.
I hope